Welcome to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz, your connection to insights from some of the top direct response marketing minds on the planet.
Hey, it's Brian Kurtz here, host of the Timeless Marketing Podcast. Today's episode is a clip from one of the 2-hour calls inside Titan's Accelerator, my private mentorship program for direct response marketers. Before we get to that, I have one question for you. Do you have a marketing insurance policy? If you don't, you need one. And that's why I created Titan's Accelerator, which is one of the most giving communities and serves as the de facto board of advisors and marketing insurance policy for over 250 of the best and brightest direct response marketers, copywriters, media buyers, marketing agencies, senior executives, anyone in direct response marketing who is committed to growing and scaling their business. The bottom line, you don't have to grow your business alone. And you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars either. Titan's Accelerator is 1/10 of the price of most groups of its kind. I know because I hosted a group that was over $20,000 a year. If you want to see how Titan's Accelerator can help you grow and scale your specific business, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BRIANKURTZ.net/help. And with a private membership, you'll receive access to the full presentation from today's episode, along with the Q&A and discussion that followed. As an added bonus, you'll receive access to a vault filled with many more private calls just like this one. Again, if you want to see if Titan's Accelerator is a fit for you with no obligation, go to briankurtz.net/help. That's BRIANKURTZ.net/help. And feel free to email me directly. I respond to every email with questions about this episode or just to say hi at brian@briankurtz.net. Now on to today's episode.
So let's switch gears to the other Venn diagram circle. So that was the personal development circle. Now we're going to go to the marketing circle. Of course, they're already combined with a shared area. And Hernan Vazquez, I believe he's hopefully on the call. I thought I saw him there before.
I'm here.
How are you?
Yes, sir. Hey, man. I'm great. I'm excited. Thank you for the invite. I'm super, super excited.
So Hernan came to me through David Baer. And those of you who know David, when David tells you something, you listen. David is very wise. He chooses the best of the best to work with, to recommend, to, when he finds somebody, he interviews them, he sometimes works with them, and he recommends them. And that's the sign of a great, not a networker. I hate the word networking, as you all know, but it's a great way to contribute to connect. So he is contributing to all of us today by connecting Hernan Vazquez with Titan's Accelerator. Hernan he'll tell you about his history and how he got to where he is today. He's obviously an old man. So if you can see him, he's an old time grizzled veteran, but he's wise beyond his years, which I love. A true NG, a new gangster. And Hernan, welcome to Titan's Accelerator. I hope the call you been on the whole call?
Yes, I've been at it, and I've been soaking everything. There's so much value and so much wisdom in this call. So thank you. Okay. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for letting me.
Oh, no problem.
Eavesdrop.
And now it's your turn to add to that wisdom. So you're on, Hernan.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you again. Once again, I'm honored to be here. So I guess I'll jump right into it. I just wanted to extend my appreciation to Brian. We connected a couple months ago, and he's always been such an amazing person and such a generous person with me, and even knowing me after a couple calls and whatnot. And you could see that that he's a generous person by nature. So I think that, I want to thank him for inviting me. And, I'm honored to be in such an amazing group here. I see a lot of people that have a lot of experience, way more experience than I have in the market. But, I'm going to try to basically tell you a little bit about my experience. I like to document a lot of the things that I am doing on a daily basis. And some of those things work. Many of those things don't work, but what works sticks. So I just want to share with you what does work and what did work, especially on the advertising side of things, and what type of marketing campaigns we are running right now. What's working for us on ads? I know that ads were mentioned briefly during the call, and they don't work. They don't work for everyone. But when they do work, they can be really, really powerful. So, I'm an ads guy. So that's kind of my professional title, if you would, technical term. So I want to share with you what we're doing to make things work. So let me actually share my screen. I have a little presentation. I have a decent amount of stuff to go through. So I'll try to be succinct and quick so that we can go through everything. So I'm assuming you guys can see my screen. Everything is good, right?
Yep, it's good.
Yes, I'm sharing.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
Perfect. Cool. So I'm going to share with you, again, some of the things that I learned after working with some of the biggest names in the industry over the past decade and a half. We sold a decent amount of stuff with ads, mostly on the information, coaching, consulting space. We have generated well over $200 million in revenue from the ads attributed to our own campaigns. So I want to share with you some of the things that I learned from, stepping on the shoulders of giants, if you would. So I'm going to move right along, and we'll see if we have some time for questions at the end of the presentation. So that's me. I'm going to do a mercifully short introduction here. Again, I've been running ads full-time since 2011, 2012. I manage personally over $70 million in paid direct response ads, right? That's where 99% of our spend goes towards the direct response campaigns. And as I mentioned, we have over $200 million in attributed sales for the campaigns that we run for some people. I've also built several digital marketing agencies. I've hired, trained, managed over 120 people, ranging from media buyers to designers to some copywriters as well. And it's been a blast. And I consider myself a lucky guy, mostly because throughout my career, I was able to work with people like Frank Kern. I was Frank Kern's CMO for 3.5 years. I worked with Cardone as well as his marketing director. I consulted with the Tony Robbins ads team. We run some ads for Dean Graziosi. We also run some ads for Agora Publishing for a couple of their divisions. I run ads for Patrick Bet-David and whatnot. So kind of want to tell you how these people operate. And what I've learned, so that hopefully, we can actually kind of see behind the curtains, so peek behind under the hood, if you would, of these multi-million-dollar campaigns and how they're able to make them work with the stuff that they're doing. Okay, so we're going to talk about ads. We're going to talk about marketing. Some of the things I am sure that you guys already know. So it's going to be a refresher. So we're going to do a kind of a 30,000 foot overview of what I've seen working so far, especially with advertising on social media. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper into the weeds. So we're going to get a little bit more technical as to what's working right now, because having an advertising agency, we have access to a lot of data. We have access to a lot of verticals. So I can distill that into what's working right now with our advertising campaigns. So what I've seen, something that works really well, and what I've seen most of these big names or top dogs do, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is this type of architecture on their advertising campaigns or on their marketing funnels that is basically divided into two big groups, right? We have what we like to call acquisition funnels, which are funnels that are there, which are products, combination of products, promotions, and upsells and downsells and those type of things, that their sole purpose is to liquidate the ad cost as fast as possible, right? so that every lead or every buyer that comes our way, they become virtually free, right? So that's where we like to point ads to, especially for ice cold traffic, right? People that do not know who we are, or they haven't heard about us, we should send them there. And that's where we are able to scale. So I'm going to share with you some benchmarks that we like to go after, especially again from Meta ads, which is kind of our wheelhouse, and how we're able to scale those ads, what we have in mind. And at the end of the day, what we're looking at acquisition funnels is, again, liquidate most of our advertising costs so that everything that happens on the other end of the spectrum, which are what we call maximization funnels or monetization funnels or high ticket funnels or high ticket campaigns, happens after somebody becomes a buyer, right? Right now, we've been running ads for people that sell information, people that sell courses for probably like 8 or 9 years now. And right now, the second, we're seeing a shift in the trends, especially after the pandemic, because the truth is that running advertising on Meta has become easier in some regards, which we're going to go into, but it's also become more challenging because of the growth or the increase in costs, right? Especially for the past 3, 4, 5 years, we've noticed that the only time that advertising costs actually went down on places like Meta and Google was during the pandemic. And we saw a boom of businesses that were pandemic childs, right? Were born and raised and grew a lot during the pandemic because they kind of used this decrease in cost to advertising CPMs during that season. And, they grew a lot. I actually was able to work with a company that they grew from zero to $100 million in valuation in just 2 years because we're able to ride that wave, right? But since then, especially right now, because this is an election years, and that elections kind of make, at least on the advertising space, they make everything more expensive. We're seeing our cost to acquire customers go up. So there is a shift between just running ads directly to a long form VSL or a long form webinar that leads to book an appointment, to close, or to talk to somebody on the phone to try to close them into 3, 5, 7, 10K worth of a coaching program, into the acquisition funnel model, which is something that we've been running for quite a while, right? So, as you probably know, marketing and marketing strategies and marketing techniques, they kind of recycle themselves. It's like fashion, right? Things that work maybe a couple of years ago, they tend to be in fashion again, or maybe 10 years ago, they tend to be in vogue again. So this is the the two-step model that I've seen people work with, especially big names, people that spend several $1 million per month or per year on advertising. That works really well. Now, I want to dive into this a little bit deeper. The first funnels, and these are the funnels that we like to, and the marketing campaigns that we like to put together for ourselves, for our clients, are towards acquisition funnels. We will rarely run ads other than warm traffic ads to a maximization funnel, which I'm going to go into it in a second. Most of our ad spend, I would say 80 to 90% of our ad spend nowadays goes towards liquidating ad costs and getting buyers as fast as possible. But, they've been around for a while. I remember this promotion right here that is in Sports Illustrated. You will get a free football phone when you get a subscription. It's really famous. This is something that I'd like to go back and study.
Now you're talking my language, Hernan, and you weren't even born then.
I know. I was like probably 2-3 years old at this time, but
you had a football phone. That's good.
Yeah, totally. So, anyways, this is how things get recycled a lot, and again, now we're seeing a renaissance of the acquisition funnel. But acquisition funnels have been around forever, and I found this today, and I thought it would be awesome to just share it with you, because this was a really cool promotion that Sports Illustrated did to sell their subscription. Right, you will get a free football phone, and they will, people will get the subscription just to get the football phone. So it was super cool. So, anyways, this is how the breakdown of the campaign that we run for an acquisition funnel that we run from ads, right? So this is for a client that we put together. He's a coach. He's an ex-military, and he applies everything that he learned at a high-level military career to coaching. So he's a mindset coach. So we have, as you can see here, we send traffic from Meta mostly. We do run some traffic from YouTube to these type of funnels, but the cost to acquire customers generally on Meta is lower than on YouTube. So it just makes the economic work a little bit better. So we run traffic to, generally these pages are long form sales letter type of pages, right? On this case, we're selling a $17 course that has an auto bump for $5. It's the audio version. He has a little guide with a couple bonuses, and then he has the audio version of the guide that we sell for $5. And then, of course, we have abandoned cart sequences. We have all of those things that happen in the background. Now, when somebody buys this, they get presented with an offer. Generally, it's depending on the niche we're seeing on the business niche, we're seeing $197 to $297 price points for these upsells. Generally, it's a more in-depth course, a more in-depth program. If they say no to that, they get presented with a payment plan. And then the next call to action that they see on that funnel is generally a book an appointment, because this coach is also selling high ticket, 5, 6K plus, 8K plus. So we prompt people to book an appointment. But then I put a little arrow here. There's also a decent amount of entrepreneurs nowadays that are doing some sort of recurring model, right? So they might do a $97 a month community or a $147 a month community. These sell really, really well as second upsells. In our funnels, we generally do that as second upsells. So when you can throw in a recurring offer here, they tend to work really well. And then, of course, we call everyone that comes in and they buy the front-end product, they get a phone call. Okay, that's how most of the sales calls happen on the back end. Some people will self-book an appointment and share with you some of the metrics that we're looking at from these acquisition funnels that we run ads to. Now, let's talk about maximization funnels or monetization funnels. These are we talked about the front end, right? We talk about these campaigns that we run to these funnels to generate volume. Now, let's talk about what happens after we get a buyer, especially from advertising. How do we turn these people that spend $5, $7, $12, $17, up to $37 into a $5,000, $6,000, sometimes $10,000 buyer? How do we do that? We do that through this mechanism, which is what we call a short VSL funnel. Okay. On this case, we have a 5-minute VSL, a short video sales letter. Sometimes our video sales letters will go up to 20 to 30 minutes long. Anything over than that, we're noticing that the attention span of people have been going down as well. So we're noticing that anything over than that, at least in our experiments, has diminishing returns. So in this case, we launch it with a 5-minute VSL that the client already had. We're still testing that. But generally, the sweet spot on these type of funnels that we're noticing is up to 30 minutes. That's kind of our sweet spot. And our process for a video sales letter has to do with qualifying the person, showing results, and then disqualifying them as well. That's why we have an application. It's a 5-minute VSL with an application embedded on that same page. If people are qualified to move forward, they move into book a call and they can book an appointment right here. And this is after come through that front-end funnel. Okay. We would run ads to this, but it's warm traffic. So cold traffic will run to our acquisition funnel. Warm traffic will run to some sort of high ticket VSL type of funnel with the purpose of getting those back-end buyers. Now, something else that happens, and you probably are aware of this, is that on advertising, especially these past couple of years, what we're noticing is that our cost to advertise is going up. But this will also happen when we are scaling our ads, right? Initially on Meta, for example, we will launch a campaign and we will have great results for the first week or two of running the ads, and then results start getting worse and worse and worse. Or as we scale, if we launch, let's say at $100 a day or $500 a day, our results will be X. But when we go up to spending $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a day on campaigns, of course, our profits on those campaigns go down. That's one of the reasons why running ads directly to high ticket funnels tend to have diminishing returns of lower ROAS. That what we used to have a couple of years ago. So there's always this scale and profit seesaw, right? The more we scale the campaigns, the less profitable we are, especially on the front end. But we compensate that with volume, right? More buyers, more leads in our list, more opportunities for sales calls, more opportunities for back-end promotions and back-end sales, and all of that good stuff. And so in order to remediate that, in order to remediate the fact that the more we spend on ads, our costs will go up, we use this ad scaling ladder, which are, we launch our ads at $100 a day, and then we see what happens, right? We check the data on those funnels, and then we see, okay, how does it look like? Are we making our money back as fast as possible? Or are we making our money back like in 7 days or in 2 weeks or in 30 days? If that happens, then we move to the next level, which is $300 a day. And then we wait. We let the funnel stabilize, right? And then we might need to tweak the funnel. We might need to optimize it. We might need to split test or change pricing. And then we go to the next level, which is $500 a day, and then $1,000 a day. So scaling ads is not necessarily linear. It's something that we start spending more, and as we spend more, our cost to acquire customers will go up. So we need to always be optimizing the funnel at the same time that we are scaling the ads. So I wanted to go a little bit more in the weeds on how things are working for us and what we need to have in mind this day and age. This is like super current. If we talk about 30,000 foot overview of the campaigns and the funnels and the marketing strategies that are working for us right now. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what's really working, what's really needed to scale and make an advertising campaign work really well. So the first thing is tracking is key. Well, of course, we all know that we need to know our numbers, but after iOS 14, after the update of iOS 14, which was right around the middle of the pandemic and the privacy things that Apple rolled out, the Facebook Pixel and Google Pixel as well, to a lesser degree, but the Meta Pixel went blind into many transactions, right? You know that Meta and Google, they have their own machine learning mechanisms, right? So you want to have tracking in place so that the data that happens or the transactions that happens throughout the funnel go back to feed that data back to the algorithm so that the algorithm can optimize. Well, that kind of went out the window with iOS 14, and we've seen decreases of data collection anywhere between 40 to 60%. So what does that mean? That basically means that, if we got 100 buyers, Facebook would only see 30 or 40 of those, right? If we got 100 booked appointments, Facebook would only see a handful of those. So that's when third-party tracking softwares became really popular. And for example, there's some names here that I'm not affiliated with, but it's always a good idea to check them out. For example, we have Hyros, Alex Becker Hyros. We have AnyTrack, another really good tracking platform that many of our clients have implemented recently. Segmetrics. Again, I'm not affiliated to any of this, but people tell me, okay, when do we need to start implementing this? And at this point, I say, when you put $1 into Facebook, when you turn on your campaigns, you want to have some sort of tracking software. Not only because this will feed data back into the Facebook algorithm, but also will give you a second opinion. What happens is that when you're running ads for some time, and this happens on every platform, by the way, they would attribute to their own as many purchases as possible. And you know how marketing is, right? That people see an ad, they click on the ad, they leave you their email, then their dog barks, they need to go out, right? And then come back, they forgot about you. Then you send them another email, you jump back in, right? And then they purchase. So what actually, created that purchase? Was it the email? Was it the ad? Was it all of the above? So in order for you to actually attribute properly, you want a second opinion, because sometimes Facebook will tell you, well, we got you 10 purchasers, but in reality, they got you 5 and the other 5 were organic, right? So it's not necessarily wrong the way Facebook thinks about attribution, but it's good to have a second opinion to optimize your ads. And since we're doing a lot of optimization for high-ticket coaches, what happens is that with tracking, you want to see not only what are the front-end implications of your ads, but also the back-end implications of your ads. So if you have a campaign that's working really well, that's getting you buyers for your desire KPI, right, for how much you want to pay per buyer. But then on the back end, that campaign is not generating a lot of booked appointments. You want to be able to take a look at that. So that's what we call long-term deep funnel tracking, right? I want to see which of my front-end campaigns are actually generating back-end sales, which might happen 30 days or 60 days down the road. So I can scale those ads. So tracking is key. And it's become, I would say, a pivotal part of running ads right now. The second thing that has changed, especially over the past year on Meta, is that targeting has become easier and easier and easier. A couple of years ago, we needed to go and find those hidden audiences, right? There were a lot of tools that will tell you, oh, find your hidden audience on Facebook or Meta and whatnot. Those skills are out there. But what we notice is that the Meta pixel has become smarter and smarter and smarter as people spend a lot of money on the platform. So now we're pretty confident launching from scratch really broad campaigns, which is something that we wouldn't do a couple of years ago, but now we are really broad campaigns, and then let Facebook figure it out who's responding to that message that we're putting out there. Okay, there's this thing called Advantage Plus audiences that Facebook rolled out probably a year and a half ago, but right now they're viable. Facebook does that, like Meta does that. They roll out a feature and they let people play with it, and then that make it better, right? So most of the stuff that Meta launches initially doesn't work, and then it becomes viable. However, here's the other 50%, right? When it comes to running ads at this point, it's like, if targeting is easy, if everyone can target everyone and they will win, what separates you from your competitors? What separates your campaigns? What makes people click on your ad versus somebody else? It is the creative, right? The creative plays a huge role, and it will keep on playing a huge role in your campaigns. And nowadays, that has always been the case, of course, but nowadays it's even more important because everyone can target everyone. I can just create a campaign right now targeting everyone in the US. But what's going to really determine my targeting is what my creatives are saying, right? And that creates a huge opportunity for copywriters and people that are on the front lines of creating, of copy and creative, because I always say that creatives is the new targeting, because your creatives will determine who's clicking on the ads versus who you're repelling, right? So I think that this is something that's really important. And also something else that happens on Meta right now is that Meta is really what we call creative hungry. So we are in a position right now that we need to be refreshing creatives weekly for our clients. So that means that we'll launch a set of creatives right now, and then a week from now, or maybe 10 days from now, we'll need to refresh those creatives. There are several ways of refreshing creatives that I'm not going to go into those things right now, but that is part of our process when serving clients. And then something else that we find on Facebook and on Meta is that we had bad versus good versus golden ads, right? Bad ads are 90% of the ads that we put out there, unfortunately. Good ads are going to be just a handful. Let's say that we launch 100 ads, 100 different creatives for a client. Then maybe 80% of those, so 80 of those will, don't get clicks. They don't get any love. They don't get us where we want it to be. 20 of those 100 ads that we launch for clients will be good ads. So those are ads that are giving us buyers and leads and booked appointments for what we want to pay for. But then from time to time, maybe 1 or 2 out in 100 will find a golden ad. And those are the ads that we can run for a long time. Those are the ads that we can run for a long, long time on Facebook and on Meta. We can run them for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. And the good news is that we can shut them off. And then, 6 months later, we turn them back on and they keep on producing, right? You might have seen those ads, is that those ads, they have hundreds of thousands of shares and comments and whatnot. Those are golden ads. And it's hard to come by them, but, it is possible. I've seen it happening. You just need to launch a lot of things to make it, to make it happen there on Facebook. and Omega. So again, creative is the new targeting in this meta game.
Thanks for listening to the Timeless Marketing Podcast with Brian Kurtz. Visit briankurtz.net and click podcast at the top of the page for a full transcript and show notes. If you are interested in working with Brian personally inside of Titans Accelerator, go to briankurtz.net/help to see how Titans can help you grow and scale your business. That's briankurtz.net/help.